Okay, you're on.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have a quorum, and we've taken the pledge of allegiance. What would you like to do with the warrant, Kathy?
I make a motion we approve the warrant.
I'll second that. All in favor? Next meeting will be May 16th at the West Bath School Gymnasium. It'll be our town meeting at 5:30 p.m. Start with our old business and recommendations from Harper Appraisal for the applications for abatement for property tax. Before we get started, do we have the letters of acceptance?
We do.
And how many do we have, how many went out and how many have we heard back from?
That is on the spreadsheet that is on your next agenda item.
Well, I have the, 56 went out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. $34 went out.
And how many did we hear back from? So who did we not hear from, do you know?
We did not hear from Georgia, Ireland, Robert Newman, those are the only ones that I did not hear from.
And we didn't receive their paperback either of the card?
Correct.
What line item is Robert Newman? I don't see him on here.
He is the first one on the second page.
Oh, yep. Okay. We have,
They answered in various ways.
okay, so for business item number 1, item A, I'm gonna say Amir, because I'm not gonna attempt his last name. For 28 Vander Wharf Drive. I received a letter asking me to acknowledge I received the town's decision rejecting my property tax assessment. I just want to confirm that I received the decision and accept the decision of the board and appreciate their consideration. If you need to bring something in writing, typically just let me know. Also, I have a homestead exemption form to submit. I know I missed the deadline, but it's okay to submit the following year. So, I move that we accept the abatement for RO1-007D as presented with the value of, land value of $102,400, building value of $396,400, with a total value of $498,800 and a new tax rate of $3,391.84.
I second it.
All in favor? Linda Henderson of 501 Foster's Point Road and 480 Foster's Point Road. Read their request. So did she come in and sign this? Is that what she?
That's what she dropped off.
Okay. Yes. So there was a letter sent to Mr. and Mrs. Henderson. Board of Assessors met last week to review and discuss requests for abatement of property taxes as noted in the letter that was sent to you on April 10th. Parker Appraisal completed their review of our application for abatement and are recommending that the abatement be granted. Your request for abatement has not yet been acted upon by the assessors. They would appreciate a response from you in writing that you received the information and that you either accept or do not accept Parker Appraisal recommendation. If you have any questions or need any additional copy of the information previously sent to you, please feel to reach out to me directly or the town administrator at westbath.gov. Her response was, I accept your recommendations, thank you. Linda May Henderson. Noted that Harvey is no longer with us. So that was for both 501 and 480 Foster's Point Road. I move that we accept the abatement for map R04-004 with a land value of $618,000, building value of $40,000, totaling $658,000 with a new tax rate of $4,474.40. And there's a second.
I second.
You accept that one?
I second that.
Okay. And all in favor? And then the second one is for R04-034 with a new value of $496,200 for land, building value of $208,300 with an exemption of $25,000, taking the total to $679,500 with a new tax of $4,620.60.
I second that.
All in favor? The next is for 263 and 269 State Road LLC. And I have just an I accept from Mark, accepting the abatement, taking the new value from land to $140,500 with a building of $162,300, totaling $302,800 with a new tax rate of $2,059.04.
I second that.
All in favor? There's a second parcel with this for map U07-013 with the land value of $200,400 with a building value of $243,900, taking the total to $444,300 with a new tax rate of $3,021.24.
Actually, this didn't change at all. So,
He accepted the change in the first one.
right, and there is really no change on
On
the
the
second.
second, correct. So what, you want to, I move that we accept the abatement as presented.
Seconded.
All in favor?
I think that might be out of order, Suzanne. Is that
Gary Barney?
Harbor Ridge? It might be more toward the end. They just sent the response. It might be from Rob Webb.
Harbor Ridge homeowners, Mountain Road land only. It is map U18-008, with a new value of $145,100 for land and a new tax. It's land only and a new tax of $986.68. Mr. Webb said, I am in receipt of your letter dated April 22nd, 2004, as well as the recommendation referenced therein issued by Parker Appraisal. In response to your request, please be advised that the Webb family revocable indemnity trust is
Oh, no, this is for the homeowners association. That's the other one.
Please be advised that the Harbor Ridge Homeowners, say the same thing, Homeowners Association is not now challenging the reference recommendations. I move that we accept the abatement as presented.
I second.
All in favor? Second parcel is U18-008-A. Didn't we just do that one?
No, there's 8 and 8A. So he sent one letter for both.
Oh, for both. Okay. No, there's two here.
No, one is for his,
Here's the lot, this is, why are there two in here the same?
Harbor Ridge Homeowners Association has 2 parcels, U18-8 and U18-8A. So there's one letter that addresses both of those.
This is for 05.
That's the indenture trust, that's a different one.
Okay, and the other one is, so we have the second parcel of 8A, with a land value of U18-008-A, land value of $14,300, with a new tax rate of $97.24. I move that we accept the abatement as presented.
Seconded.
All in favor? So does he have another in here? I don't, is this out of order? Oh, here it is. I see it. Yes.
It's not on the agenda though, because he just submitted that today. So it didn't make the agenda, I wasn't expecting it. So you can act on it or not, as you wish.
So Kathy, if you look at page, this, a little bit farther in the book, it says 23-63 at the top. It's probably 8 pages in. He's not challenging, would you like to, okay, let's move forward with it. I move that we accept U18-001-005 for the land value of $778,200 and a building value of $870,600, totaling $1,648,800 with a new tax of $11,211.84. The Webb family revocable indenture of trust is not now challenging the reference recommendations. They have accepted the abatement as well. I move that we accept it as presented.
Seconded.
All in favor? The next one we're looking at is for Mr. Gary Garney, map U19-002. Note from the individuals, I have received your information regarding Parker Appraisal's recommendation of denial. At this time, I accept this recommendation. Gary Garney. So I move that we accept the abatement as presented with a land value of $662,000, a building value of $317,200 with an exemption of $25,000, taking the total value to $954,200, and a tax of $5,675.82, which is the stabilized value.
I second that.
All in favor? The Pearsons do one or two letters.
They just did one.
Okay, so we are now on, for the Pierce Jeffrey H. Revocable Indenture Trust and Pierce Margaret H. Revocable Indenture Trust. For U19-006, with a land value of $1,883,700, and a building value of $1,136,300, with a total value of $3,020,000, and a tax rate of $20,536.
They sent the letter.
They sent the letter, it's for two, yes, and they accepted both. We'll do this one and then accept the next one. I move that we accept it as presented.
I second that.
All in favor? And the next parcel is for U19-007, also for the Pierce family. And they have approved both. Now we'll read. This time we accept Harper Appraisal's recommendation.
I second it.
All in favor? We have Ronald Proctor.
He just sent his response. I just talked to him.
Okay. You can relay to the assessor that I accept Parker Appraisal's recommendation. Hopefully I'll be back in Maine in 2 weeks for any follow-up that may be necessary. Thanks for your assistance in this matter. Sincerely, Ron Proctor. So I move that we accept U24-010-A with a land value of $234,000, a building value of $291,100, with a total value of $525,100, and a tax of $3,570.68.
I second it.
All in favor? I have a note for parcel U27-003 for Henry Baker. Am I saying that right? Baker. Thanks to everyone involved in considering an adjustment for valuations on my home at 138 Brigham's Cove Road, West Bath, Maine. I accept your acceptances as the adjustments. So the land value for U27-033 for $444,800, a building value of $183,300, with an exemption of $25,000, taking the total to $603,100, with a new tax rate of $4,101.08.
Second it.
All in favor? Okay. That is that. We have some time before the next meeting. If we need to wait, we go to the next one.
Well, we can go into the next slide.
Even though we don't normally have the regular meeting till 5:30, Kathy, what do you think we should do?
Well, we even said we were gonna start this meeting at 5, so even if there was a misunderstanding, 5 o'clock was the
to see, and I certainly understand why you're not going into that detail here, but I would like to read through the Parker recommendations relevant to the entire stack. Christine is very organized with her list. Are these in a binder somewhere at the town hall where they can be reviewed? How will I be able to approach that? I certainly want to see the reasoning behind the adjustments.
Hold that thought.
And we did get a small snippet on these things too.
You got one.
A small snippet of his.
Good, and I anticipated that you did and would not slow you down.
Yeah.
But at some point, I do want to be able to have a clearer
Maybe in the
understanding.
future, we should read what the,
So I have that, actually. I have the whole,
Oh, I would not hold people with that. I
Right
think
here,
I
every
would find
single-
it relevant to get a handle on the reasoning is one
do
reason.
you want
There
your
are
own
other
copy?
reasons that I want to
well, I
do
was
it
just
as
think
well.
later on, maybe him.
But yeah, I just want to know how this is on record at the town hall with the backup paperwork.
I have their request, and then I have Parker's recommendation. Are you looking for your own copy or just to review it?
I eventually want my own copy
Okay,
signed by
that's-
you ladies, but that's not my question. I want to go in the town hall and review all backup
For
information
each one that was
for
presented?
all 40-something abatements.
56.
Yeah, you can do
How is
that
it
anytime.
organized? Is it in a binder, Christine?
It's still in one of those standing files.
Okay, it like
So-
map lot order,
Yeah.
and it's, you
Yeah, so
will
it's
be
all
comfortable to let someone know I'm
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah,
Camp out somewhere
every
for a couple of
property
hours.
is in its own file, and all of the correspondence that has to do with that abatement request is right in the file.
Thank you, I appreciate you taking the time to give me the answer.
So I think we'll go ahead and move on with, well, the old business. I think there's some items that are missing from here, from old business on the agenda. So I have a couple things. I don't know, Kathy, if you got anything else. I'm still waiting on the job description that's been discussed with the town attorney.
The job description or the contract?
The contract.
I don't have it.
So
I
can
have
you-
not seen it.
Can you make that recommendation to Madam, because I can't? Can you,
We have talked about it. I'm not sure what the holdup is.
well, I can't have that conversation, so I'm asking you for the
Yes.
third time in a row, can I have that by Monday?
I cannot produce it, so I can talk to Madeline, but I cannot produce it.
So Kathy, I'm gonna ask that I have the authority of the board to contact the town attorney for that, since we can't seem to get it.
I don't have a problem with that.
I'll take care of it. I got this one. Okay. And then where we are with the tax assessor status, I know you had a couple questions, that's not on our old business.
What do you mean by tax assessor status?
So we talked about getting someone to do the pickup work and measuring the building permits.
I did not reach out because there wasn't any formal direction for me to reach out from last meeting. Plus, I don't know if you're concerned about the bid policy or seeking proposals or what you would want me to ask of this person.
Why
Do
does
you
this
want her to
always
come to the
happen
meeting?
after our meeting? I mean, at our meeting, we walk away thinking something's gonna happen, there's no more questions asked, we go to the next meeting and
Uh-huh.
I don't understand what you wanted.
Did the board tell me what you wanted from this person? I didn't hear we want a proposal.
But if you didn't know,
Ask
I'm
us.
asking
Well,
what you didn't
sometimes
ask
it
of
takes
her.
me time to reflect, just as it does everybody else. I didn't know, there's been a lot of concern about the bid policy lately. Something like this
I don't think that
could
this is,
exceed the bid policy. I don't know if I was asking her to come to a meeting or asking for a proposal. or what I was asking for.
So our bid policy is up to $7,500 before we have to go to bid. I believe we changed
It's
that.
actually $6,500.
$6,500. I don't, give me 1 second, David. I'm gonna ask, I think we need to ask her for her recommendation of pricing. How many permits are we looking at? Can you give us a count of what our status is?
Mhm.
How many building permits, how many things are we looking for, a number, so we can say, here's the number, what do you think you'd like to charge for it?
And this was asked for at the last meeting.
Right, it was, and yet we're at it again. So.
I will listen to the meeting again. I didn't feel that there was clear direction.
So we'll establish a clear direction, how about right now? So,
Because every time I've taken initiative lately, I have come out, paying for it. So I'm not gonna do anything unless there's a motion by the board and you tell me exactly what you want.
Well, I have, because I said I'd take better notes, and I have. We asked for the number of abatements settled, the number of appeals, any undeliverable, number of permits and types going forward.
Right, and what did you ask me to ask of this appraiser? We didn't address that.
we asked for the number of parcels, I believe, we discussed that at the last meeting.
That has
On how
nothing to
many-
do with what I'm asking of this appraiser.
It actually does. We're asking, if there are 47 building permits that need to be measured, that's the request, we're gonna say, we have 47 building permits in the town of West Bath. What is your price point for that? And how much time do you think you need to pursue
We
it?
did not talk about this at the last meeting. We did not talk about price points or seeking a proposal or
It's not a
whether or not she should come to a meeting.
But
So,
number one, I was hoping we were gonna be farther along and just at least have a conversation if she was interested and if she had time, so that we,
Can move forward.
yeah.
Because we're standing, so I'm gonna make a motion. I move that Christine gives us the count on Monday of how many open permits there are within the town that we're gonna consider for pickup work.
can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Why do you need to know the number if we're requesting the or if we need to provide the information to her?
I would like to know the number. It's that simple. And it'll help us determine the price point and what her value, what her cost per pickup location is.
If we back up a little bit here, we said we were gonna reach out for town people who had expertise and their advice. I would like to ask the two people in this room that I feel have some expertise in this area, how would you like to see us proceed?
Jumping in, the number of building permits of the type is equally important. Most specifically, how many of these are new construction? Because the individual going out must prioritize would have driven by new construction or demolitions. New constructions and demolitions, and photographed on April 1st, even if it was a snowstorm. They're not keeper photos, but they're status photos. And that was not done. So those two categories are critical to know the count.
So number of new construction and demolition.
And demolition.
Okay.
And then in general, how many building permits in addition to new construction and demolition would be my strong recommendation before speaking to anyone.
David, did you want to add something to that?
In order to speed this process up, I believe the board has the authority to override the bid process. So I suggest you do that to speed this process up and not go out to a full-fledged bid. Let's get this going. Talk to somebody, which I thought was gonna happen tonight, but, let's get this going and override the bid process and get going on this.
So if we get all those numbers, what's the next step?
to, I think we authorize, presuming she comes in, she send us the numbers, we authorize them to proceed and eliminate the bid process, because we have to, I don't think it's gonna come in at $6,500, to be frankly honest, but it might.
It sounds like we're not very clear. Do we
Right.
authorize Christine to call Jennifer Watson or Mid-Coast Appraisal and see if they're available?
If I may make a suggestion, if I was the individual appraiser that someone was contacting, I would appreciate being made aware which selectmen's meeting I could attend for a 5-minute get to say hello. Bluntly, not only is it important that you folks as the elected assessors and the staff feel this is a comfortable, even though it's very short-term, limited administrative project. This individual has heard about the situation in West Bath and needs to be confident and comfortable as well. And I would suggest that you have the building permits in question, where she could informally look through them and not expect her to give you a price point that evening, nor for you to make any offer or request of her services, but to become mutually aware of time situations on both sides. Then, a week later, wrap it up. Am I okay with what I'm saying?
David?
And if this takes a special select board meeting, because next Thursday is town meeting, I would suggest you do that.
So,
At their convenience when these people might make it.
Mr. Winter,
And just as another category, lot changes, meaning splits and combinations.
They will not offer to do those. They're not assessors.
No.
so I'm gonna change that motion. I move that Christine, well, I'm not ready to do this now. So Christine, I'm gonna request that you pull the number of new construction and demolition permits, and then the general new building permits. And if you can give us that number by Monday, and then we can send a request out to Mid-Coast Appraisal for her time that's mutually beneficial to both of us to participate.
So a meeting,
Yes,
okay.
but if you could let us all know on Monday the number of new construction and demolition permits, as well as the new building permits, and have them readily available for review for Mid-Coast Appraisal.
So she doesn't need to come up with anything on paper before that meeting?
No, we're gonna, I think we let her analyze what the project looks like and give us an estimation. And then we'll look to have a meeting as soon as possible following that review.
I second that motion.
Was that a motion?
Yes,
Okay.
since that's the request of the town administrator to be given a motion to
Before we
move forward.
vote, any questions? I just want to make sure we're all clear. I don't,
No, I mean, that's clear.
okay.
And I think if any of us listened to the last meeting, we talked about, you know, the building permits and, you know, providing that information, but no one ever talked about reaching out or having a meeting or requesting a proposal. So I just waited.
Okay, but still, we did talk about building permits, and we still don't have that information, so.
We'll get it on Monday. And then,
Suzanne?
Mr. Winter,
For pickup appraisal work, does one typically do it on an hourly rate or as you were doing now, sort of enumerating parcels to be looked at? I would presume an hourly rate.
Do you want to?
Is that a question
For
for
you,
me to
right?
respond to?
Yes.
Yeah.
It really depends. An appraiser must conform to a use pattern. I wouldn't begin to anticipate what a peer, how they would approach it. They are interested in, as I said, pursuing appraisal certification as well as their state licensing, which is on the Secretary of State's website. She's highly trackable. If she has had disciplinary action, it's there. All you gotta do is put her name in, Secretary of State, just like mine, and you know all about our professional standing. They wouldn't be looking at this as a major source of revenue, but they would be looking at it as a get-to-know, assessing in general, and potentially West Bath, if this became a situation that seemed attractive to all parties. And I would not speak for another professional. There is no typical, whether it's hourly or by site.
So what she say is the level of work that she would make?
And it would definitely be through their business. They would do it only as independent contractors. They would anticipate a 1099 at the end of the year. And they provide all of their own work equipment.
Insurance and everything else.
And they would produce copies of their insurance. I don't think she'd bring it to the meeting, but if
Yeah.
you continue to talk. Yeah, totally independent.
Are you comfortable with that process?
And I also hear what David's saying, and I agree with David that this should not be a bid process. This is something that needs to be done
Expedited.
sooner rather than later, so instead of putting it out to bid, we'll just find someone that can do it and get it done.
We're running out of time. We need to do this.
Kathy, I am not well, would you continue to talk to me?
So, yes, David?
I was gonna say, if you look at it from a budget standpoint, we have money in that account right now. So this current budget year,
We do.
we probably what, $20,000 last year?
We have 20,000, I don't believe we spent any of it yet.
So we have money available in this budget.
Thank you for your advice from all of you and for your support. I know this hasn't been easy for us or for you or for any of the townspeople, and hopefully finally we're getting somewhere. So hopefully this works out for us and we can start the process. But again, thank you for being supportive because it has not been easy.
Thank you, Kathy, for your open-mindedness.
Anything else on legal services?
So there's a motion on the floor. Did you want to vote on that?
Yes.
Yep.
All in favor?
I'd like to abstain.
Anything else under legal services?
That wasn't legal services.
We're not under request for proposals, legal services?
Well, that was under the kind of the abatement process and
Okay.
revow.
So the legal service,
We're kind of finishing up old business. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to old business?
I don't know, Suzanne, thought we had something else. But it's not. Do you remember, Christine, it was 2 meetings ago, we tabled something. Was it the legal services or the?
Yeah, we've tabled that a few times.
Okay. If there's no more old business, we'll go into business items. Number 1, request for proposals, legal services. So we discussed the select board requested expense report. Well, that isn't the one we want.
You flipped it over, Kathy.
I did. The select board will review and discuss a 3rd draft of the request for proposals for legal services. This item was tabled from the May 2nd meeting to allow the select board additional time for review. The first change in this request for proposal services is at the very beginning July 1st. Remember, we talked about putting that in here, so that's now in here. Under qualifications of legal counsel, the proposal should make note of the firm's interest in advising the town on matters involving land use, municipal law, or both. Attorney of firms who focus their practice in a specific area of municipal law are encouraged to make this specialty known. We requested that, and I think that came out well.
I thought we also made sure, we wanted to make sure they had, I don't see on here, employment law.
That's, you requested that that go at the end, where they check off
That's it for in the
on the last page, the areas of focus.
Pages 5 and 6 on that.
Oh, on the very back.
Yep.
Areas of focus: land use and zoning, property tax and valuation, labor and personnel, contract law, ordinance and policy review, environmental law, public finance, and dispute resolution. Other, please specify.
Okay?
One other thing on here that's been changed,
The designated spokesperson.
Since individual select board members have no legal authority to incur expenses on behalf of the town attorney is not authorized to provide legal counsel to them individually unless approved by the full select board and communicated to the town attorney through the town administrator. Communication between the town attorney and department heads and/or town committees requires the approval of the town administrator.
I think we change full select board to majority.
Is that a motion?
I move that we change the word from full select board to the majority of the select board.
I have maybe it's just me, the last sentence there too. Communication between the town attorney and department heads and/or town committees require the approval of the town administrator.
Right, I don't think that should be there either.
Well, that's what Sally always required, so that's,
But
She's not there
that's just
anymore.
addressing committees. Because committees generally can't just call council on their own,
Right.
somebody has to know.
That's been practice.
I think it should be the approval.
What should be approved?
I'm thinking. Should that be, I don't know, what are your thoughts, Kathy? I don't know if it should come from the select board or from the town administrator.
It's always been the town administrator.
Dave?
It should be the administrator, because if you're waiting for an answer from a planning board or whatever, you don't wanna wait 2 weeks for the select board to meet.
Understood. I think we'll just, I just move that my motion will be to just change the word full select board to the majority of the select board
Is that the only,
in that section.
just,
Yep.
I'll second that. All in favor? Any other?
I don't see any other.
If you want me to change labor and personnel to labor and employment law, I'd be happy to do that. That's probably a better way to say it.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
So I move that we change labor and personnel to labor and employment law.
Second.
All in favor?
So I don't think we need to see any more. Do we accept these changes and can go out to bid on this? I don't think we need to wait for another meeting.
I move that this current proposal as amended tonight be published so that we can seek legal services beginning July 1st.
Second that.
All in favor? So item number 2 under business items, annual budget town meeting warrant review and approval.
Actually, that's not,
I was gonna say, I thought we approved that at the last meeting.
I think it's, we have the treasure, well, we're supposed to
Yeah,
talk about the
it's
treasurer's report on expenses.
Julie is in Bangor with training today, and she said she may or may not make it here on time. She recommends that if she can't make it to discuss this with you tonight, that maybe you hold a workshop. I'd be better.
A workshop or just tabling it till the next meeting?
She would rather hold a workshop during the day if it's possible.
What she explained to me was that if we are there in the office, she can show us the different kinds of reports that she can generate. And that way she'll have a better idea of what it is that is desired and how we want them to read and what way they'll be most useful, both to the select board and to next year's budget committee.
I'm totally fine having that happen.
Works for me.
She said any time other than Wednesday afternoon would be fine. If you want to choose a time that will work for you all.
My preference is to do it next week. I'm traveling the following week for work.
Any day but Tuesday typically works for me.
Tuesday,
I would ask that you not have it on Thursday because there's a meeting during the day. And then Friday, Julie has an appointment in the middle of the day. Wednesday, Julie leaves early, so maybe Wednesday morning or Monday.
Monday would work best for me. I have a commitment on Wednesday.
You can do Monday morning. That work for you, Kathy?
What's the date?
The 13th. 13th.
It's also Christine's birthday, so maybe bring some muffins.
Cupcakes?
Memphis cupcakes.
I have a 1 o'clock conference call, but I can do anything up until noon on Monday.
I'll make it work.
10 or 11 work for you, Heather? Or earlier?
I think we should maybe say 10 in case we have enough time to really discuss it. Does that work?
And we have a town administrator's report.
There are a few items under correspondence in your packet. Amber sent over an adjustment to our county tax commitment. It's up about $5,000 from the previous number. So I just wanted you to be aware of that.
What will the total be?
Pardon me?
What will the total be?
The total,
583 million. Oh, ours or theirs? What's Everett?
yeah, our commitment is
925.
925,588
Yeah.
for the county tax.
Up 7.86%.
Do we have to amend the town meeting warrant?
No, it's not on the warrant.
Because we have,
Oh, because that's not our budget.
Right.
Do we have David?
But I did amend the budget. And Tedford Housing sent over a communication. They're doing a planning conversation about warming shelters for winter. And they were hoping to get someone in addition to myself that they can send correspondence to. And, you know, maybe attend 2 or 3 meetings up until next winter to discuss this issue.
would it be appropriate for the fire chief, since he's probably going to be here?
It would be appropriate for him, but he really doesn't have time. I would rather have somebody else.
I can do it.
Okay. Thank you for that. And the other correspondence is about transportation. The folks at Green Acres are requesting transportation to get to where they need to go. A lot of them aren't able to drive or don't have transportation themselves. They reached out to a couple of organizations, and the organization that actually serves this area is in Belfast. So they're one resource that we could maybe engage to see if they could help us out, if you're interested in pursuing additional transportation in this area.
It says it's going with Bath and Brunswick.
Yeah, and that's one organization. There's two organizations here. They reached out to Western Maine Transportation initially, who said that's not in their normal range. So they're wondering if maybe we could open up a discussion between a few transportation companies to see if they can get something going.
And I don't know whose jurisdiction this would fall under, but with the amount of people at Green Acres who are experiencing mental health issues and the lack of on-site staff available to them, if there shouldn't be some conversations with the landlord tenant to provide these people some on-site help, it would, the number of calls from Saginaw there are ridiculous. That's going to be a big problem for us in the future if it's not gotten under control, and some kind of transportation is a huge issue there. Mental health services is a big issue there. Childcare is a big issue there. The building itself is a big issue. These people don't know how to reach out and they have no running water. I mean, this place is a disaster that this town is going to have to invest some time and effort into in the future. So I'm just putting it out there that this is a ticking time bomb that we're all going to be responsible for.
Okay, start some conversations then. And I think that it's possible that Mid-Coast Council of Governments can give us some support on this too, because they're working on transportation issues. So if they can help us out, that would be good.
Yeah.
That'd be a public health.
It needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, or I think as far as emergency services, a lot is being expended to that one facility in our town, and we don't have any manual on it, and it's not a good situation.
Maybe we should compile a public health and some other people come to a collective meeting and talk about what the plans are.
Unfortunately, I have some firsthand, because most of the people that are employed by me live there, and the amount of bed bugs and mold and non-working bathrooms, it's not good.
So we should facilitate a meeting somehow for that. And talk about more than just transportation.
Yes.
Can we put that on the, have that as a, for town meeting agenda? Because if people are living in substandard housing, and the federal government is paying for that, and we know about it, that's just, that's, federal guidelines, it's straightforward, that's supposed to be.
And maybe if somebody like Sweetser knew about it, like an individual, maybe they would supply some, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours a month of on-site. I just think it needs to be talked about, put out there, and then see what agencies.
I'm sorry, where is Green Acres?
It's on the New Meadows Road, down past the school.
Okay, the
On the
apartment
right-hand side.
building?
Yeah. The big blue
Okay,
building.
thank you.
It's not called Green Acres anymore, it's called something else.
Those of us who've been around,
Right.
Green Acres.
And you've also received an invitation from Cameron Liddy, who would like to invite you to Bath Middle School's Celebration of Learning, which is on May 31st from 10 to 1. They'll be showcasing their quality work here.
Okay,
The 31st,
May 31st, what time?
10 to 1.
Any other items? Future agenda items. Is there anything on old business that we need to carry forward that's not on here?
I'd like to float to the top of the discussion about the tax assessor. And what our next steps are.
So, our next meeting after town meeting.
Is there any way that we can have a meeting after town meeting before the first one in June? There's a lot of time. And we've got urgent business to take care of.
So May 6th, well, there's the week after that look.
I'm traveling the week, I'm from the 19th to the 23rd, I'm
So
at a
May
conference.
13th or something would.
I'm available May 13th, and I'm also available the week of the 27th.
27th is Memorial Day?
The week of, yes, but I have that time, not traveling.
Well, I figured we never really have a capital business that all the town meetings taken care of.
I mean, I could do it on the 24th, that Friday, maybe one on one weekend, or the 28th.
I'm on vacation the week of the 27th, but I don't need to be there. if you don't need me.
24th is a Friday, right before Memorial Day weekend. I'm here. I understand that, but I,
Okay. Then, my suggestion.
How about the 23rd, Thursday?
I'm not here, I don't come back
That's
till
a full moon.
It's a full moon? Forget it. Forget it.
We don't need any of that either. Is it 28th or 29th, 30th? I mean, it's just,
Neither one of those work for me? No.
29th,
29th.
Reservoir Resources. Do the 28th and the 30th. Tuesday the 28th and Thursday the 30th.
I'm fine with that.
And to be clear, Christine won't be here.
Right.
So it's that would be.
Oh, no.
30th, 5:30?
Any select board comments, announcements?
I represented Garbage to Gardens on Saturday at the Westmouth Elementary School Community Garden Festival. And it was a wonderful event. A lot of people came who weren't part of the school community. And, the garden club was there giving away plants. And a good time was had by all. It was a great event. I hope they do it again.
And I have a comment. I received a compliment on behalf of Carly from one of the residents who, you assisted them when they were traveling in Maryland. And their child had a car accident, and they gave their car to their child, and she helped them get the next car registered so they could comfortably transition as a family. So I wanted Carly to know that she received a very fine compliment from one of our residents.
Good work, as usual. Let's not forget the annual budget town meeting, Thursday the 16th at 6 o'clock. We know you're all going to be there. Any public comment?
Hi, Michael Williams, Savannah Road. I have a question about how the property evaluations were produced in this recent reassessment. I may have it wrong, but in looking through the property cards, it looks like all waterfront property is assessed as the same. It says river title, on many of the property cards. I know from prior property evaluations in the town, there was a careful distinction made between deep water properties where there's always water at the edge of the property lot, or tidal properties where the property muds out. And that, at least in the past, affected the value of the land and therefore the assessment and the associated property taxes. Does the town recognize this as a concern with the evaluation that was done? And if so, what do you recommend we as a town or as individuals do to rectify it?
Well, so, I'm gonna throw this out there that I think that these values were altered in the overall revaluation process. And we are yet to have a full manual provided to us to help us in the determination of the various types of waterfront that are in all waterfront within the town of West Bath. There's deep water, there's tidal, and there's several in between that. I don't necessarily have a complete answer for you as of now, but we are working towards addressing that as we try and complete our reevaluation process and pursue the manual completion and the items that we need to take the town forward for the next 10 years towards our next reevaluation process. I know that doesn't answer you directly, but we are aware of it. If you feel that you have been unjustly taxed, your opportunity to file an abatement is, as is in every year, you have that right to do so.
It would seem, if I may follow up, that would be a sort of an individual decision to a collective problem. In other words, you know, we're no different from anybody else who's across title property. And I'm sure the board doesn't want to deal with abatement requests for a large number of waterfront properties.
Do you want to take that, Kathy?
I don't think it really matters whether we want to or not. It is your right, and we will do as many abatements as we have to. I would encourage anybody who feels like they have not been taxed properly to do an abatement. We are moving forward. We are looking at different ways to remedy this. It's going to be a process. It's something we address every selectmen's meeting. We're looking at how do we move forward? Are we going to hire an assessor for the town? Are we going to, we know that there's a lot of problems with this evaluation.
And we are looking at getting some sort of assessor on site. We don't know the real determination or classification of that position. And that is something that I think will help in evaluating what those changes are and then making recommendations path forward. I don't think we go out there and blanket change every property that someone brings it to our attention. And that's really, it's on the property owner's responsibility to review their property card and accept or reject what that card states and then move forward in that status as an abatement. And it's really, from that perspective, how you pursue it.
Thank you.
Is the deadline for abatement already passed? Wasn't that?
Yes, it was February 29th.
For this year, but you can file abatement every year. You're not precluded, if you don't do it the year that the reval happens, you can certainly do it the following.
So I had something else. I had a change in a code ordinance that I thought had been presented, and it doesn't seem to be in the ordinance's changes. How do I go about requesting that?
Sure.
So that change was presented to the planning board, and the planning board agreed that they were only focusing on the changes to comply with LD 2003, the legislative matter, because the deadline for that is July 1st. The entire land use ordinance is being reviewed by Midcoast Council of Governments with the planning board and town staff. So that is noted to be changed at a later date, so the change is forthcoming, it's just not in this bundle. The other ordinance change about the campground made it because that was a town petition, so they petitioned to appear on the warrant for town meeting. So that's separate, and that's why that one was on there,
Okay.
but it is on the list.
Is there a way to know what the wording that has been presented is? I think, is it the one that I send, or is it? there was another
I can follow
wording?
up with you on that, yeah, because I have all of that in the office.
And when that ordinance meeting happens, it will be a public meeting as well for you to come in here. It'll go through a regular town, I should say a special town meeting, to review ordinance changes down the road. They don't just get granted, they get discussed.
And well, I'm not sure how that affects taxes. This year, land that's been coded one way, but it's not, doesn't comply to this, will it be reassigned as like non-buildable? If it doesn't meet the code right now?
What is this change about?
It's about road frontage. And,
So you're talking about we're having a parcel determined non-buildable from a valuation perspective? Is that like the gist of it? I'm trying to, yes. I presume that would be a property card change. Is that accurate? That takes a lot from buildable to non-buildable?
Well, right now, it's not buildable, and the change would make it buildable.
Okay, I'm not sure. I thought it was coded as buildable. And that's,
Yeah, we don't have enough information, I can't address it.
We can follow up with you on that.
okay, great.
Any other public comment?
I'm just wondering, when do you expect to finish the abatement reviews and stuff? Ours has been tabled so many times. And when we don't come, you table it. When we're here, it's not addressed. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do at this point. You can't get in touch with anybody over the phone.
Can I just
Calls
ask-
and return.
Johnson?
So the ones that we addressed today were those that accepted. The ones that we addressed today in the abatements were those that accepted the abatements as presented. So we just moved those into a complete abatement status.
Yeah.
There's all the other ones that are still pending are those that we have not found resolution to,
Well,
which you are one of them.
okay, what is the projected date for having things done? We've got things, we're not gonna be around the next month, and if we don't show up, things don't seem to get addressed.
So you've gotten a letter from.
We've got the letter.
Yes, and we
we've
received
returned
a
it.
letter in return that said that they don't accept Parker Appraisal's recommendation. So what,
So they will have to go to the,
But we haven't denied it yet either.
you haven't
I
decided
know,
yet.
once we,
So and here's,
Yeah.
we're at the chicken or the egg piece,
Yeah.
where no one has the data necessary to complete
right.
an adjustment mathematically. So that's what,
It just seems like there's a lot of them getting approved or passed through, and ours is just a land question, and I don't know that it's that complicated. I don't understand it.
Well, again, what she's saying, the ones we did approve,
Mhm.
the landowners or taxpayers agreed with the recommendation of Parker Appraisal.
for the denied, whatever it was, they took the recommendation from Parker, and that allowed us to move forward once they gave us something in writing saying they accepted it. You are waiting for a determination on change in
For
value.
somebody to look at it, to review it.
And we are trying to get to that.
Oh, okay,
And we haven't dismissed your concern. We are concerned as well. We don't have a completed manual at this time for us to use, which then falls through for even, for you to take the next step. They don't have the same manual necessary
Yeah.
So we're looking at getting some sort of assessor available to us in some capacity to assist the town in these decisions.
Okay.
We won't, if you're not available, we're not gonna move forward without you present.
We're gonna be gone
Yeah,
the
but-
month of June.
That's okay, but we won't,
That's not necessarily what they want, is what
Would
she
you
said.
like us to deny, so you can just apply for your, would you like us to deny your request so that you can just start the process for an assessment review? That would allow you to go to the next step. If we just deny it,
No, my husband's fed up with this. He's tired of it. He's made phone calls and they haven't been answered. And,
so if we deny it,
right,
then you can simply go to appeal it.
but they too don't have the
is it
same.
really worth it?
Yes, yes, because the Board of Assessment Review has a whole different thing, and they are guided by attorneys, and they have the full, they're honest and true, and they will have the training, and if your petition is worthy and true, they will give it to you.
Based upon what value? They don't have the numbers to make that value determination now, they don't.
I don't think we should speak for the Board of Assessment Review. I think they have their own process.
And they're honest. Trust me.
Will they notify us
Yes,
individually?
absolutely, absolutely,
We're having a hard time communicating with anybody.
yes.
Who have you reached out to that you haven't heard back from?
They have
called.
They have contacted me. I happened to receive messages when I was not in the office. After the messages were received, I received something in writing from Lloyd and Robin, and I thought that was sufficient. I didn't know they needed a callback because they didn't, I just wasn't in the office at the time.
When,
Since September,
when
you know, every month, and it's been kind of a waste of time. I can't hear half the time, this building is horrible. And
when are you going away for the summer?
we're not going away for the summer, we have family commitments, the month of June, we're gonna be gone. I'm just curious if there'll be a dress before then.
Probably not.
I'm gonna say probably not. It's
That's
two
to be
weeks.
honest,
Yes.
probably not.
Okay, well, we'll be gone
But we won't proceed without your presence to make a determination one way or the other. We want you to be here and state your position. We're not gonna go on without you.
Okay.
Is that fair?
You will notify us with a phone call or
You
something?
will be duly notified. We're not gonna proceed without you in the meeting, I promise that.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
This is on a different topic, kind of, but this is evidence of the fact that we can't hear you. So I think it's time for y'all to get grown up and use the microphone. Because there's no sense of us trying to come and understand what's going on when we can't hear you. That is your responsibility, so let's get with the program. The second thing is, I think if anybody's calling the town office or leaving a message, it should be mandatory that they are answered by phone or in writing.
100%.
It is unexcusable that these people are not getting answered. It's obvious that she's having her trouble with the process, but they need to be answered. Even if it's, I'm sorry, we're still working on this, but we did get your message.
I agree.
Totally agree, and I don't know if any of you tried to call town hall lately, but I find it very frustrating also. All you get is voicemail, and I think it's ridiculous, and maybe we can put it back.
Well, I would suggest
I'd
that
like
you
to go
add
back
that
to the
to
old
the
way.
agenda to figure out a way to solve that problem.
I'm with you, Kathy. I would like to go back to the original
Me too.
in-person phone conversation instead of having it roll immediately to a voicemail and wait for a response.
So let's put it on our agenda, phone calls to town office and proper etiquette to respond.
I'm sure there's a way to program the phone system that it only goes to voicemail when you're on a call versus having it roll automatically, so you have to select a call. Or we can talk about phone call etiquette.
All right, why don't I make a motion to adjourn and take a 5-minute break to do whatever we need to do and come back.
Before we depart, I would like to apologize to people for being late for this meeting. I'm obviously being treated for skin cancers and precancerous stuff, and I am not feeling well, and that was why I was tardy. And I apologize to the board and to the public.
Apologize for that,
Anyone want to second?
Second. Third, all in favor?